Hello and welcome to this N-Connecta Nissan Leaf review. This is the pre-facelift model which happened from June 22 onwards. So what you see here is the slightly older variant, although it does have slimmer designs. This takes inspiration from the likes of the Nissan Micra and the other Nissan Rangers and actually looks quite nice by default. Top speed for this is 90 miles an hour. It's got a 0 to 60 in 7.9 seconds, which isn't too bad. You do feel this from the light, so you will find yourself, certainly for 1 or 2 seconds, thrown back into your seat if you wish to. Engine power is 148 and engine torque is 236. In terms of the front of the car, you get standard options in here, so the leather seating and the rather generic and bland interior. So you can see here that we've got the sat-nav, which won't be winning any Screens of the Year awards. It is very basic in terms of its functionality and is a little bit slow to respond. To start the car up, you press the parking brake button here and then just push down to go into forward. You've got an eco option if you want to get a little bit more out of the car, and then you've got the E pedal as well should you wish to use that function. You've got heated seats, which is great and actually very useful, as well as the standard amount of buttons on the steering wheel. What's quite useful for this particular car is in terms of its capacity. It is 40 kilowatts. Its usability is what it claims here is 168 miles. This particular car has struggled, and I've had it from new, so 110 miles is basically the average I've been getting out of it, which isn't ideal if you want to go on long journeys, so do prepare yourself if you need to charge. That's the parking brake just on the left hand side, so the 3 pedals as you would expect in any normal car. You've got the accelerator and the main brake. For a majority of the time you're going to be pressing the accelerator and using the E pedal function. As long as you get used to the ability and time it takes to stop, mostly around town, I never used anything else and very rarely used the brake. The front view from the windscreen is okay, but it is limited here as you've got a massive chunk of plastic just towards the right hand side of the car, which is quite irritating when it comes to looking to the left and right of you. So that's one feature that isn't ideal if you use and drive regularly. In the back, very standard sizing, nothing particularly different here from any other car like a Volkswagen or anything like this. You've got ISOFIX, and the footwell isn't overtaken by the battery that's in the middle of that screen there. Charging point wise, you just press the button on the front, it opens up for your charging points. You've got the standard charging point as well as the super fast charging points as well. These are quite useful, but pretty generic, but it does allow you to use multiple different charging types when you're out and about. Last but not least, the boot size. So this is erring on the small side, particularly when you take into account that the charger you're provided with is very small, so you'll probably go out and find that you want a charger with a longer lead, which we have done in this case, so that takes up a chunk of boot. However, you can get in your weekly shop, so it doesn't mean that you can't just go out and about and shop as you normally would. However, going on holiday is going to be a little bit tricky. So, overall, what's this car like? Well, in summary, we've enjoyed our 1 year with it. It's been okay. It's not been the best car by far that we've ever owned, but it's not been the worst either. We had no technical issues with this car during that time, but it is worth noting, did we get in the car every day and go, wow, is this the future car for us forever? No, we didn't. This car was bought as a second car to help me get to work during that time. It did a good job. Got to A to B, and it was okay. A couple of the bits that I probably just want to highlight here. Externally, it looks fine. I think it looked okay. It did the job for what I wanted it to. Interior wise, yeah, the dashboard was okay. The leathery bits did add a bit of class, but overall it was very generic. The sat-nav in particular was a problem as it was slow to respond and the screen wasn't overly impressive. In terms of battery life, I think this is another problem with this particular car. So it quotes 168. I go from the Midlands to London quite often, so in this case it just doesn't work for me. I had to use our day-to-day car instead. So it does add limitations there. With that in mind, going on holiday with this and using it as your first car, for example, again you're going to have to plan for some charging stops, and some quite long charging stops at that too. What makes this an appealing car? Well, we got ours on lease and it was a few £100 per month, which isn't, especially these days, too expensive, considering some people are paying £700 or £800 for a car, or if you're looking at something like a Tesla, then you'd be looking at sort of £300 to £400. So if you just want a car that's okay, not too inspiring, gets you from A to B, does it at an effectively cheap cost, then this car could be for you. However, during my time with it, I'd rank this as a 6 out of 10. Thank you everyone for listening, and happy motoring.